The following podcast is directed to an adult audience and is an objective reflection on the history and evolution of LGBTQ+ pride and why it remains important nowadays. Although it's not intended to attack any group or person, discretion is advised if the subject is uncomfortable for you. Hello everyone, I'm Mrs. Midnight. Today we have a very special guest. We have my friend Ali together with us, since we are making a special video about the Pride Month and why this is so important to our society nowadays. You want to tell them a little about yourself, Ali?
I served in the U.S. military right after high school, 3 years. After that, I obtained a degree in English, and now I teach English at the college level. As far as Pride is concerned, I came out 3 years ago, and I've been transitioning for almost two now. It'll be two in October, and um, I'm really happy with my decision to do it. Uh, and as a 43-year-old uh, resident of Earth, I'm certainly pretty pleased with the way things are panning out for me.
That's really cool. You feel more happy in your own skin, more authentic, true to yourself.
That and the discussions that I have with people feel more authentic because I can be myself. They understand who I am and where I want to be in life. And I think that that is empowering. To feel not only happy in my own skin, but confident in my surroundings.
Yes. Simple free love
Mhm.
and care for us in life, no masks.
Right, right, exactly.
That place don't belong behind a mask.
Yeah, I did that for 40 years. Yeah, it was a tough. Well, of course, I grew up in Ohio, so it was a pretty conservative state. They don't. The folks here don't necessarily highly trans person. And so, growing up here, it was one of those have to keep it hidden things. To the extent that I even joined the military, kind of
Get away from
right.
it.
This isn't me. I'm a big tough man. Haha. In the end, I ended up with a partner that understands who I am and is okay with decisions I've made in my life. And so, with respect to that, I've started to accept who I am, and we've been living pretty happily since the last couple of years. I mean, well, we lived happily before that, but now there's no past. Everything's on the table, so to speak.
Yes, more authentic than it's ever been. I'm proud of it.
Right.
And you
Right.
make a beautiful couple.
We try to. We try to. She's got the look.
I say both of them do.
Right.
Both of them do. And they are both awesome people, and it's really nice that nowadays you can live freely as you are. You know,
Yeah.
not having to hide from your significant other, from your friends,
Right.
from society. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will say that it is a hard pill to swallow for some friends, and then there are folks in my community that don't necessarily get it, and I kind of let them get away with my childhood name without having to correct too much. I'm pretty feminine in and of itself, so it's better not to rock the boat where I live in some instances. And some people may say that that's not me living authentically, but in my personal opinion, that's a thing that will go away as more normalcy and more acceptance come. So I don't have to be up in arms, right?
Fighting everyone.
Right, right. I don't have to fight everybody all the time. I can just wait it out. And if that's pick and choose my battles kind of thing, I guess.
Yeah,
Is the way to say
exactly.
it. Yeah.
That thought was on my mind. Pick your battles, because one thing is, if your significant other didn't respect it, that would be concerning. If it's someone you live with every day, it would be horrible for you to have to fight. But if it's people that you see here and there, not that it's okay for them to not understand, but you're not going to be fighting with that.
Right. Yeah, and that's not something I'm interested in doing at all. So,
Honestly, your peace of
right.
mind is more important.
Yeah, amen to that. And so, the small town that I live in Ohio, and it is. We'll see if it's accepting or not.
Right, we'll see how things play.
Right. Yes, that's the way I'll say that.
And the saddest part of it that I said, despite how hard it is nowadays, it's so much better than it was decades ago. If we go back to the 60s to 69 when Stonewall
Yep.
Inn was raided and people spent 6 days
Yeah,
fighting against the
6 days.
police,
Yeah. Yeah.
But people were fighting the police because police would raid gay bars, gay discos, and what have you, looking for indecent exposure to take people to jail
Yeah.
or to charge people like with money. I forgot ticket or the term in English, but for things as simple as holding your boyfriend's hand if you're a man, kissing your girlfriend if you're a woman. And it's ridiculous that that was considered indecent exposure. Yeah. And could get you in legal trouble.
Absolutely ridiculous to me. Yeah, 100%. It's awkward. Um, there are even nowadays some popular media sources that shed light on these things. Um, I believe there was a show called Peaky Blinders where they touched on this thing, race and everything, homosexuality. But with respect to that, it's like, how can a human being be illegal for loving someone? Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Love is love. How can it be wrong? Right. No, as long as it is consensual between two adults, what are you missing?
Right. And that's, I think there's a little bit of a pushback from our society uh, because it doesn't go with the everyday average norm, so to speak. People think that they used to. Um, that might be a little awkward. Um, I think the pushback really comes from this ignorance and not understanding how or why someone wants to live or lives their life that way.
And not wanting to understand.
Right.
I frown upon it, I don't like it, and I'd rather ask you to not do it or demand you to not do it, even exert violence for you to not do it, than try to be tolerant. If I don't like it, just look away.
Yeah, and so that's what happened in the '60s. There, huge pushback, 6 day standoff, and it kind of marked the starting point for, if I'm speaking correctly, the equal rights movement for the LGBTQ community, right?
Exactly, which was not officially recognized until 30 years later, until 99 by Bill Clinton.
Yeah,
But until then, it was like, yeah, sure, it's your pride, but it's your thing. We don't actually validate it,
right.
you know? And to think that 30 years after Stonewall had to pass, and let alone the amount of years, the amount of people that had to suffer.
Was that 1999? Wow.
Yeah. Let me show you here. I did some notes, a little screenplay that ended up being 18 pages long.
Front and back. Oh yeah, 1999. Wow, 30 years later. How do you like that? Wow.
Very much so. And actually, the term pride emerged from all this as well. And it was instaurated by Jack Baker, that
Okay.
he and his husband, Malcolm, I forget the last name, let me see here, Malcolm McConnell, they were one of the first gay couples to openly marry publicly. Not two men marrying publicly. They had to jump through horrible hoops to get their marriage license, and when they did, the state tried to revoke it. Imagine having to struggle so much to marry the person you love, and then the state tries to push it back, like, no, you're not really married.
Yeah, it's like I now that I've kind of made adjustments to my lifestyle, does that mean that you're going to try and stop us, my partner and I? Like,
Of course not.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it seems really crazy to me that a state would feel like it needed to intervene with somebody just because they weren't ascribing to a social. See, we could say norm again, but that's
But it's the
inappropriate.
case.
But yeah, they weren't ascribing to what they believed is the correct way to show up to a person. Yeah.
And what has to be,
Right, right. And so, and I wanna norm. I wanna touch on that because when I say societal norm, what I mean is that it wasn't then. It wasn't, and we worked very hard to make it a norm. And people say, well, why do you have a Pride Month? And it's like, because you still think awkwardly about a gay couple in public. You still feel awkward about, like, you shouldn't have to feel that way. You should be alleviated the response, that kind of a response to the situation. It should be normal. It should be, let alone accepted, respected. It should be not thought so much about, you know? Yeah. A pair of boyfriends is kissing. Cool, good for them. I hope they're happy. Same as you would think of a woman and a man. Yeah. You know, love is love. And that's the thing. The laws can change. And nowadays, you cannot call the police because you see two guys kissing. And if you do it, they are going to laugh at you. Right, like, yeah. Okay, and what do you want me much to more do? Important things to do. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I couldn't care less about the gay couple. Leave them be happy. But even if you cannot use the law to hurt them, people still want to here and there, and that's why the Pride Month is important. But also nowadays, I can, for example, joke saying, choose between two flavors of ice cream. I don't even pick between genders. What makes you think I'm gonna pick between flavors? Right. But the reason why I can joke so freely about it is because so many people fought and suffered for it to be possible, and that should not be forgotten. You know, it's really cool if you want to have fun in the parade, but don't forget it's not just for fun. I agree. I served in the U.S. military at a time when the policy was don't ask, don't tell, and there were a lot of young men who were part of the LGBTQ community. And right, yeah, and so much so that I knew ladies and gentlemen that belonged to the LGBTQ community, and they were not. It was not acceptable for them to show their love. It was not acceptable for case in point, a couple being married, a man and woman, when both of them were gay and they both had partners, and they both lived in this house, and all four of them kind of split a place together, right? Just and to cover it up. Just to cover it up and say, don't ask, don't tell. Hey, you didn't ask, we didn't tell. It was nobody broke any rules. Yeah, exactly. So, pretty much. Yeah, and so it's like, okay, well, they adapted, right? Just like we over time have adapted, and I think we have made, as you said, great strides. But still so much more to go. Yes, there's quite the mountain to climb. There is quite the mountain to climb. And with veterans specifically, they just recently said no more trans in the military, and there may be some folks that got grandfathered in with certain programs, things like that, but for the most part, they're gone, or they're being, you know, slowly phased out of there. And dishonorably discharged. I don't know if it's a dishonorable, but I don't think it's an honorable one. I think it's an other than honorable under general conditions. Exactly, like they deserve less merit. Right, right, and they don't. They deserve all the merit because they were brave enough to stand up and actually join a force like that and be open about who they were. That's tough. That's strong. That's the kind of soldiers I want in my military. Are people that aren't afraid to stand up for what they believe in and fight strongly. And for somebody to tell them they can't serve, but then would want to expect that they could draw from the general populace. Exactly. When people that wants to serve and is capable of serving is not allowed to, and it's up to no, it's a weird world that I'm seeing in front of me right now. It's not the world that I think that we envisioned, uh, it being right now. So it's an awkward stage to be in. Very much so. I mean, we were talking earlier before starting to record. The national hymn, that part of the lyric says the home of the land of the free and the home of the brave. Yep. Precisely, there has been so much bravery in the whole community fighting for equal rights for everyone to be able to love freely, to express themselves freely. But there's still so many people that still frown upon it. So yes, it's still important to have a Pride Month, and not only a Pride Month, to feel free to be proud all year long. Yeah. Not only on June, because thinking of the military, it wasn't until the 73 that homosexuality stopped being considered a mental sickness, and until 2018 that transsexuality was. So it wasn't until 2011 that the gay and lesbians could serve in the military, and until 2021 that the trans could. So yes, there are still concerning things that need to be addressed. Yeah, especially within that societal framework, because when I served, we that was something we didn't really care about. It didn't matter to us as long as you were able to fight and do what was necessary. Um, and I never saw a falter at any of those folks when I served. But again, we live in different times now, and the idea that somebody should be cast out just because of the gender they identify with is very, uh,
Very much so. Even this concept of stay out of my children or stay away from my children.
right.
Okay, yes, but I've never seen any of my trans friends or me being bisexual or my gay and lesbian friends go approaching kids and hey, you should try this. It's really cool.
Yeah,
We've
no, it is
yeah, it's it
it,
because that's not our
yeah,
target. Our target
no.
is to be
And
happy ourselves. Not
yes, and the reality of the situation is that it's not something that I woke up and decided that that's what was who I was. It's something that's been with me my entire existence. You know,
exactly. It's not like
it's
today I feel
it's
like being intersex.
yeah,
It doesn't work like that.
right,
You know?
right. Hey, so we got a pride.
We're gonna Pride Month. Look at notes in case we missed anything, but I think we covered it all. Oh no, no, no! I remember something you told me yesterday that we were talking. Ali showed me a photo of a tombstone of a veteran
Mhm.
that said a gay veteran,
It was a gay
a
veteran.
gay
Yeah,
veteran, and under it it said, "I was given a medal for killing two men and dishonorably discharged for loving one."
right. I thought and that's in a, and if I'm not mistaken, it's in a military section of the cemetery. So it's like kind of a, hey, you know, you gave me a medal for this, and it's absurd that I was, yeah.
Yeah, I know it's incredible.
I
Cute.
love it.
They are priceless.
That's something. If you add photos into uh,
Oh yeah,
yeah, that
definitely.
would, I can
You
send
need
you the
to share
photo.
me
Yeah,
the photo because
yeah,
we need to show it. Yeah, so they see we are not making it
right. It's
up.
not something we made up at all. No.
Yeah, no, it's real
Um,
and it's hilarious, but it also gets you reflecting.
yes, it does
I
because
know.
it existed even all the way back then, and even I mean, you want to talk about don't ask, don't tell. I was talking about how we might have had a bad hack. That was grounds for an immediate discharge and probably a mental, evaluation as well back then. I mean, I'm just saying.
Most
That's rough.
likely.
That's rough.
Most likely because of how it was thought of as a mental
Yeah.
disease that they had to cure.
Yeah, it's an awkward thing.
Yeah, no, it's not a cold. It doesn't
No,
work like that,
no,
and it's
no.
not
We
contagious, by the way,
no, we don't
either.
have any Kool Aid or anything like that. I mean, it would be nice if we had Kool Aid a little while here and there, but not like that
Exactly, and not for that purpose.
right, right, exactly.
And I also say it's not contagious because people are like, stay away from my family. They are not going to become gay if they are not gay just because they are around someone that is.
That's true. Very true. And the other thing that you had mentioned when we talked yesterday was the straight pride thing.
Oh,
You
yeah.
wanted to talk about that today.
Yeah.
It's okay for me to bring that up.
Of
Okay.
course, really
Well,
good.
you were talking about the idea that some folks feel the need to have a straight pride month, which I don't care. You do you. That's great. I think it's awesome. Love who you love and show your love for others. But, at the end of the day, how do folks feel about that? How does it make others feel? For me, it's okay, great, that's nice.
Like, whatever.
Whatever. You do that every day anyway, but if you want to make it a holiday and celebrate, you kind of had that back. We were talking the other day, May
May.
Day, May Day with the maypole and the celebration of sex and fertility in May and all that.
Like a bacchanal from ancient Greece.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yes, just like that.
Just without the god Dionysius.
Yep, yep. Which hey, not too long ago we also came under fire for.
Oh,
Remember the big Olympic thing with the homage to Dionysus and all that,
oh yeah.
and the media went nuts about it. Yeah, they went crazy about it. But anyway, so that's they've had that's been a thing, and the traditions have kind of been abandoned or whatnot, but when you bring it up and you're talking to the right person, they understand what you're saying. They know, if you understand that history anyway. So
No, and I think with this pride, straight pride, I think there are two extremes, you know?
Yeah.
One of them is pursuing like equality, same as the LGBT community is entitled to be proud of who they are,
Yeah.
us are as well. And in that sense, there's something to it. It's not about now we are going to shame the straight,
Right.
now we are going to shame the cis, because it's not about it becoming a permanent vendetta between extremes, you know? That's a
Right.
never ending nightmare. But there's another extreme that's not pursuing equality, but just trying to counterattack the
Yeah.
LGBT movement. And the LGBT movement was never made to attack anyone. All the opposite, it was created for equality, out of resilience,
Mhm.
out of strength to resist all the things they had to go through with the race and
Oh yeah,
the
agreed.
society's attitude, you know. And that's why it is necessary nowadays. The straights can have a straight day,
Mhm.
week, month, year
Yep.
if they want, but
Yep.
that's the difference. They can if they want. They don't need, you know, and they've never needed to fight. The straight men have never needed to fight anyone in order to marry their wives, nor have the straight women in order to marry their husbands.
Agreed.
You know, or the cis people have never had to fight the women to dress as women or the men to dress as men, and that's the difference.
And there are cultures where that show that those kinds of things have been going on for thousands and thousands of years. So it's not a new concept. It's just a concept that people are less afraid to approach now and discuss openly.
Exactly. It's always existed. The difference is that it used to be forced to within the club.
Hmm.
It's now out, but it didn't start existing when it came out.
Agreed.
And speaking of also supporting the movement, whether you belong to it or not, allies, you know, that allies are obviously parts of the community, but also parts outside, people outside of the community.
Mhm.
But in order to become a true ally, yesterday we were talking, are true allies more about thinking exactly the same as the community does, or more about empathy and support?
Hmm. I think that there's a mixture. I think there's a good mix of folks that get it and want to help and want in the idea of awareness and discussion and conversation. And I think there are some that don't get it, but they're willing to be what we would say tolerant or whatnot of others' lifestyles. You know, they may not be involved and all excited about it, but they're not going to trample on or attack.
Disrespect.
Right. Um, and then there, the other ones that they very much want to, but those two, I think, are, like I said.
Yeah, no, you're right that it's a mixture between if you do not see eye to eye in everything, at least try to see where the others are coming from.
Hmm.
And if you totally disagree, that's valid too, but then just don't sabotage the fight of other people.
Yeah.
You know, you don't agree with it, don't participate, but don't get in the way.
Allow the folks to live their lives. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the way I see it.
Precisely. And I think on our side, it's also important for us to have tolerance to the fact that this is something new to many people. And of course, it's being new to you does not entitle anyone to disrespect or to be violent. But if they make honest mistakes here and there, I think it's not very wise to destroy friendships of years or relationships with family
Right.
when they actually care and they do respect, they are just learning.
Yeah, and so like that's what I've told some of the younger folks in the community, in the trans community. Like, well, if they misgender you, are they really meaning to do it, or is it just they're getting used to it? There's no need if they're getting used to things, they're willing to accept you for who you are, for you to be upset. But we can tell, and we know from our backgrounds and from the people we talk to and what have you, we kind of know who's really accepting and who isn't. I think, well, at least I would say, in my life experience, who's going to be good, who isn't.
And you know people in your life. You
Hmm.
also see people's attitudes,
Hmm.
and you can tell if that was an honest mistake. She forgot,
Right. Yeah.
or that's on purpose. You
And
know,
right. And you would think you would know that if you know the person. If you don't, then maybe you not a big deal, but
Exactly. I mean, if, for example, I called you by your birth name or I misgendered you and I told you, oh, oops, this was a mistake,
right,
it would be like, no, dude,
yeah,
go to hell. It was not a mistake. You know what's going on.
right, right. Yeah, no, I would not be like that.
Yeah.
In fact, I got friends in my card community, in the wrestling card community that I interact with. There are folks from all walks of life there, and it's one of the things I do sometimes is just either put up my pronouns or I correct folks, and generally everybody gets on point with it and knows what's going on. So,
That's really cool. Yeah, for your friends to be like that.
yeah, they're pretty accepting group.
Very much so. I mean, mine nowadays are too, but I think both my MS and my bisexual condition made me have to, even if I didn't want to, force people from my life. In the sense that it shows you who are truly with you for you,
Mm-hmm.
because they care about you for who you are, and who needs for you to be a certain way to still want you around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not here to live by somebody else's standards.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to mold to your likings. I'm not a cookie for you to mold
Right.
me to your
Exactly.
likings.
Yeah, I like that. I'm not a cookie for you to mold. Clearly, it's sacrifice on that.
No more beer for me. I have a
Yeah,
little more.
yeah, a little, never heard anything.
Never heard it.
Yeah, never, yeah,
And later, Ali old Ruth, what happened? Gladys had more beer.
that's it, yeah.
And also, both Ali and me are a lot into movies. And yesterday, we were talking about
Mhm.
representation that nowadays I think is very misunderstood because I'm not going to discuss it is important, for us to not only see straight white men in movies, but I think the way it's being executed is not the best. What's your stance on this idea?
I'm really new to the community as far as being out and being able to have conversations with people. So when it comes to something like theater and film, it was really wild when you said, is it authentic representation or is it, what do you call it?
Oh, there's an expression in Spanish, in Mexican Spanish, that's me estás dando atole con el dedo. Basically, if you have a drink, whatever drink, I don't know how to say atole in English, so
Sure.
whichever drink, and you give me some of it with your finger.
Yeah.
I mean, if you give me a drink with your finger, what the hell am I gonna get? Nothing.
Right.
Or just a little spread, a little drop.
Right.
And I think that's what so many movies in big corporations,
Yeah.
I'm trying to not throw names because this is not a personal attack, but I mean, big corporations will just gender swap existing characters or race swap existing characters. And yes, there should be more inclusion, but original characters with real importance, and with more background to them, not just here's your gay. Okay, but what about that gay character? Where does he come from? What does he do? What is his abilities, his weaknesses? He's gay.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
And when you said that, I thought, there have been some inauthentic representations of the community in film because of that. In the 90s, especially if you look back at movies, and oh, jeez, you don't want to name movies, but
I mean, go ahead.
there was a film called Little Nicky, one of my very favorite films in the whole world. Still love it. Adam Sandler, love you too.
Oh, I
But
love it.
but in the film, they had a transvestite, trans woman. They never I specified, but they made this person seem out of their mind, crazy, hysterical, and they even commented on how there was no real beauty with this person. And it was like, wowzers, trousers. When I rewatched that, I thought, in the day, it was fine because that was where our media was. But in the modern era, that doesn't fit well. Yeah, it doesn't work. Yeah.
We were talking about White Chicks earlier, and we both love that movie. It's hilarious, but I was actually called transphobic for liking that movie, and I was like, what the hell? Besides having friends that are trans, and I would never be offensive or harmful to someone because of
Sure.
who they are or how they identify.
Sure.
The movie doesn't even talk ill of the trans community at all.
I don't know.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Some folks find meaning in things that they're important, and some folks find meaning in things that aren't important at all. But
You should use that energy for things that are more
Yeah.
constructive, more
Yeah.
important, as you say.
Yeah, and I mean criticism is fine, but I mean at the end of the day, name calling things like that, you're falling into the idea of like logical fallacies,
Yes.
non-truth, lies,
Or even
assumptions.
assumptions, or even ad hominem. If it's said by someone in the community, it's valid. If it's
Yeah.
said by someone outside of the community, it's invalid because it's mansplaining, because it's his imposition.
Yeah,
I mean, sorry about that. A friend of mine decided to call.
that's all right.
But as you were saying,
I don't know, threw me off.
yeah, no, it threw me off too completely. He's never, well, no, he does call here and there, but he hasn't in a while.
Oh, okay.
But it was like, I'll call you right back. I'm recording video.
Nice, nice. And it was beautiful the way you said it. I didn't understand until you just said that. I need to learn my Spanish, I guess.
I said it in Spanish, like, te marco en un rato, estoy grabando video, perdón.
So yeah, I think we were talking about authentic
Authentic
representation.
representations and movies and taking offense on certain
Yeah.
characters of contents. And Nate, my husband has a great way of saying when I am overthinking something, not necessarily LGBT related, anything.
Sure, sure.
Like you are looking too much into this. It's as simple as this.
Right,
This is the fact. This is what happened.
right.
And I think that's the thing that happens here and there. We look too much into things, finding offensive things that were not intended to offend,
Right.
and that are not offensive in their nature. A character by itself shouldn't offend anyone.
Yeah, right. And you were talking about someone saying you were transphobic because of the
Uh-huh.
cheeks. It's like that doesn't work. It's like, there were people upset that the authenticity of Ariel was tarnished, right, in some way, shape, or form because they made the character black. I think it's a lot different when we're talking about cultural perspective, right? And you're not talking about that. So
Exactly.
you're talking about a form of entertainment, a movie that was released without any real transgressions towards trans people. So,
No pun intended.
yeah, right.
But
So I try. I try. So, but no, I understand where you're coming from on that, and there's a lot of I want to say misdirected um, anger, a lot of frustration, because again, this is still a movement that's very much in the thick of its momentum. Right, we're finally getting some momentum. Then we get a leader in that says no, you guys have to wait, and then we get somebody and it's okay again. Okay, so it's going to be a back and forth push.
yeah, push and pull.
Yeah, and when it comes, I'm sorry.
No, no, no. You.
When it comes to authenticity of characters, I think society will be the ones that allow us to decide, what works and what doesn't within film. But right now, we're in this weird transition period with that too.
Yes, no, and there's even a list for inclusive films. Like you
Sure.
have to include a character that's age diverse, gender diverse,
Right.
ethnicity or race diverse, a disability,
Right.
an LGBT member. And the thing is, if it is an authentic character in the story that is important for it, of course include it. But if you never thought of a character like that for your story and you're just putting it in there wherever it fits
Yeah.
to fit those parameters, that doesn't even like meet the function
Right.
for them because we are looking for authentic representation, not just a little robot.
Yeah. And not, and not, and when you do rub it, we're not looking for something over the top. We're looking for something subtle. If you are going to make a rub, make it a couple in the background of a scene or something that looks at least somewhat authentic as opposed to your. Yeah, I'll be nice.
Oh, don't be
But
nice. Say what you
no, but
think.
like as opposed to being somebody who thinks that they have the understanding of what it is to be representative of the community. If you are representative of the community and have that authority to speak on it with ethos, then fine. But if you're not, it's better left to the pros. My
Exactly.
personal opinion.
You're right on that, because there's many privileged people that do not need support with these situations because they do
Right.
not belong to the community. They have not suffered discrimination for it. And they are very opinionated on a topic that does not concern them as much.
Hmm.
And that, as you say, they do not fully understand.
Right. It's like thanks to those allies that push. and don't get it, but still push. It's like what I said to a friend of mine. I said, "You were raised as a white American." I said, "So tell me what it's like to be black." They said, "I don't what?" I said, "You'll never be able to tell me what it is to be black because you're not. Just like you can't tell me what it is to be trans, bi, gay, etc." I said, "Because you're not."
Exactly. I mean, even between us, I don't go telling Ali, I understand
Right.
what you go through because I'm part of the
Right.
community. Because Ali would be like, yes, but you are bi, you're not trans.
Right.
You are a different method. You don't go through what I go through.
Right, but you
You
still
know?
can understand. You're trying to help in areas where you can. We were talking about makeup earlier, which I desperately need someone to help with. I'm sure any lady out there can see that.
I mean, she doesn't need, but we are going to make her look even prettier than she already is.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yes.
Having some kind of base to work from, that would be great.
Totally, and we can go from the supernatural makeup, no makeup look to the smoky eyes with red
Nice.
lips.
Nice. Love it.
Yes, I love it too. She would look very pretty.
I think so.
Yes,
Yeah, the hair helps a lot.
totally. You let us know in the comments what color of smoky eyes would suit Ali. Black, like wine red, or what would you say? Wine red would suit you nice with black.
I have to see it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm down for whatever. So
I'm a color nerd, you can tell. You're in good hands.
yeah, awesome.
Crazy, but good hands.
That's good. That's good. I trust you, and I trust the crazy. I never. I don't work with folks who aren't crazy. So
Me neither. I don't trust the same.
no, they get a pass, and I'm just not into that.
Yeah, no, yeah, common sense is very dangerous, and common sense is what you need.
Yes. Amen. Agreed.
Yeah, and it's like Frambo, my favorite video game, that she's in the peep reality, that's the darkness, everything is very bizarre and crazy. She's like, nothing makes sense here. And they tell her, we get along very well with your common sense. We
Right.
respect the difference. And,
Amen.
I think we need more of that, you know?
Yeah, I agree. We definitely need more people willing to listen to others, try to understand where our backgrounds align, um, and at the same point in time, to show a little respect and love for one another so that we can live in peace and harmony.
Exactly, agree to disagree.
Yep.
Not everything has to become a debate. Not every debate has to be won.
Right.
And sometimes it's more about keeping your peace of mind personally, the peace between your relationships with the people you care about.
Mhm.
I mean, you don't have to turn everything into a war. Let's be tolerant with each other because in the end, the kinder we are to each other, no matter what we think of each other's lifestyle, the nicer the world gets to become of a place to live in. And if we do the opposite, we normalize the world becoming a very hostile place to live at. And even if it doesn't affect us, it can affect our kids.
Yep.
Or their kids in the future.
Right, and that's and I think that sometimes people don't think about the generational changes that will occur. So it's up to us to steer those folks in the right direction, and then of course when they take the helm, do the same. But I don't think a lot of people think about that. So
No.
it's very great that you mentioned that.
Yeah, I think that's partly why I wanted to make this video because as I was doing the research for our screenplay, because I didn't want to just talk out of my ass in this topic,
Right.
I swear I wanted to cry as I was reading in many parts because it's unbelievable how many suffering had to occur for people to have the freedom to be more open nowadays.
That's true.
And even so, nowadays, I couldn't care less of whatever my stepson decides that he's into when he grows up, but the amount of kids that are still afraid to come out to the parents.
Yeah.
Nowadays in 2025.
Yeah, it's wild that there are children still terrified of that.
Very much so. I mean, as long as that's still a thing, we need to not only have a Pride Month, but also be mindful of the topic all year long.
Yep, agreed. Agreed. Well, thank you.
You're welcome, but we have one more topic to
Yeah.
discuss that was actually your idea.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
furries. The furries and the LGBT community.
Oh gosh, I gotta be careful because I'll get in trouble.
I mean, of course,
I don't. I understand that it's a thing that people get into. I understand that people have fun dressing up in costumes. I think that I think there's a fine line between transgender folk and the furry community.
and it's not nearly the same. And that's what
No.
we need to understand. It's
Yeah.
not to invalidate. There's nothing wrong if you like to dress as a fox, bear, cat, or whatever you want, but comparing to a trans, saying that it's the same,
Yeah.
is not only inaccurate technically, I would like to say a little disrespectful to the trans community,
Yeah.
and also it can generate more ignorance than there already is because
Right.
people will ridiculize the trans, saying things like that. That what's next? Giraffes are gonna want to turn into rhinoceros,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean this. I feel it frivolizes a little bit what the trans
Yeah.
community goes through because trans men do not wake up as a woman on Wednesday and okay, but on Thursday I wanna dress as a man.
Right.
You know, it's
Right.
something you feel all your life.
Yep.
And furries, that's an activity that you like to do whenever you choose to.
Yeah. I don't want to exclude anyone because I love everybody, but at the same time, I don't want folks to equate trans folks with furries because we don't have a performative gender for a wolf or a performative gender for a cat.
Or for any
Or
animal that's not human.
yeah, and that's where it breaks with that kind of understanding. That's not a gender. That's a species kind of thing, and I'm not even sure where to go with that.
Yeah, because that's a good point, you know.
Yeah, I love all people, and I don't care if you're into that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, it's like I just don't understand it.
And in the end, not every single thing we like needs a letter in the community, no?
Right,
L stand for lesbian, G
right,
stand for gay, and so
right.
on. We don't need an F in the LGBT plus community because it's an activity that you enjoy.
Yeah,
It's like saying I'm into boots. I need a B in the community.
yeah,
You
right. Like
know?
I don't dress up as a woman one day and the next I'm not. I feel the way I feel all the time.
They're always
And so, right. And so, with respect to that, these folks that are, dressing up and things like that, like animals, you're not that all the time. And you can't be that all the time because you wouldn't be able to have a job like that. It wouldn't
exactly.
work.
Even to go to the
And
supermarket, they do not
yeah,
attend animals.
yeah, and it's like, are you saying that you want to live an authentic life as an animal, like as a farm animal, as like in the wild, or like because that's kind of where we see those things and where those things exist for us.
Yeah, because that's a
Um,
good point. If you dress as a wolf, are you gonna move into the forest?
right, right. Well, no, because that's not where. Yeah, it's just not where it is.
No, 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 it's not where it
And
is.
no disrespect again towards the furry community. I've got love for all people, and my a couple of my good friends are in the community. But that's just it. Like you're not a wolf.
Exactly. And they are aware, at least to some extent. But also, in the end, if they belong to the LGBT community, it's not because of the furry activity. If you are a lesbian woman that is into furry,
Yeah,
okay, you belong to the community because you're a lesbian,
yeah,
not because of the furry part,
right.
you
And
know?
that's what I'm.
And that's where the
You know,
thin line is as well.
yeah, I think so because and the other problem that you run into is that there are groups of people that want to equate those in the LGBT community with beasts and animals and unsaintly things.
But actual animals, not people dressed as animals.
Well, they equate us to. There are some preachers out there that have said that it's no better than bestiality.
Well,
So, I mean, no, 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 not the furry thing.
oh,
Us,
oh, oh,
LGBTQ community.
oh,
Yeah, and so when people like that are dressing up and doing those things, it might exacerbate other things we don't want to happen as well. So it's like I'm just not sure what to do there yet.
no, you have a very
Yeah.
good point. To people that compare us, the LGBT
Yeah.
community, to bestiality,
Mhm.
that seems like
Yes.
we are proving them right. You know,
Yeah.
that we actually are super
Yeah.
close to it, and it's not the case.
And I'm fine if that's your lifestyle. You love each other in your costumes and all that. You want to love based on that. Cool. But it's fetishized. It's not, you know, I'm not fetishized. And well, I am, but I don't want to be. And like, there is
Right.
still a community that does it. I just don't care to be.
Exactly, and that's
So,
the thing. It's a
yeah.
fetish. It's like being into BDSM and thinking that entitles you to a lot in the community.
Right.
Not the same. Because in the end, the community itself was created the same as Pride, you know?
Mhm.
for protecting rights,
Sure.
for
Yep.
supporting each other, for sorority, not for just the playtime. You know, even not only in intimacy, the parades, the expositions, all the fun related to the pride that came decades after people started to fight for all this.
Yeah.
So we really need to be careful. Yes, everybody deserves love, everybody deserves respect. That's not what is a discussion here.
Right.
But we need to be careful to not include in the community things that not only not relate to it, but also frivolize and basically throw away the hard work and suffering from so many people for
Hmm.
decades in history.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that statement. Yeah. I feel very much like, again, there are things to be fetishized and there are things that aren't to be fetishized.
Exactly. So very much. But well, I think this is officially a podcast, which is okay because it
Yeah.
was the idea after
Sure.
all.
Yeah.
But thank you, Ali, for being here, and I'm sure the community will like to see Ali more often. So if you do, let us know in the comments. So comes more often here.
I'll stop by. Yeah.
All right.
Great.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
And by the way, before I forget, my friend already left, unfortunately, but as we were talking about the history, we forgot to mention as well that same as Bill Clinton recognized the Pride Month officially in 1999, Barack Obama and Joe Biden continued to contribute to the movement as well, supporting it, since Barack Obama from 2012 to 2017 and Joe Biden from 2021 to 2024 made it possible for the LGBTQ plus Pride to be officially recognized.